that this is going to be a very difficult fight, or has the potential to be a very difficult fight. Because through it all, right, Garry is a very big guy for the weight class, very tall, very agile, and can move around for 25 minutes if need be, which could cause issues for Islam. He'll be a shorter fighter in the octagon this time, and Garry won't be stationary standing in front of him. It is a very hard fight. Now, when you hear a guy speak about wanting to do something at a certain time, and you tell them, well, all you're going to do is run, you try to make that man fight you not in the style. I don't think that Garry's dumb enough to fall for it, even though you see Islam speaking about this fight where he called it the Temu version of McGregor versus Habib.
It's just AliExpress.
He's talking about Garry being a runner.
I just have to run in this camp too much because I have to follow him because he runs too much, you know. I know his game plan, we always see his fight.
I believe, or have to believe, because it's the same coaching staff, right? Coach Javier Mendez that I had, that he is smart enough to know what needs to be done in order to pursue this fight. I think it just shows, though. It just shows how fighters think as they get closer to the actual event. It's a hard fight, though. It's a hard fight for Ian Garry. It's a hard fight for Islam Makhachev. I believe that this fight will be determined by what happens in the beginning of the fight. If Garry is able to stay upright for a first round, it could be a long night for Islam. But if Islam is able to secure takedowns early or get close to Ian Garry, I believe that then the fight will start to sway in his side.
Before I start making any picks or how I think this fight's gonna go, I need to go back and see Ian Garry fight some wrestlers, see his takedown defense, see his wall work, his get-ups. I need to see a little bit more, just refresh my memory on his grappling, because obviously Islam's gonna drown him, I think, but I need to see how good he is in those positions.
He's not bad defensively.
He's long.
Took him down, right? Like took him down, I think, but he had a lot of attempts. I think he took him down twice. His defense isn't bad, and his footwork is, I think, what keeps it amazing. But he's never grappled with a guy like Makhachev that has the sweeps, the inside trips, the upper body.
The best thing that he's got going for him is that he's not afraid to have a boring fight. He's not afraid to footwork run nonstop.
That's true.
Islam, you're talking.
Air jab.
No, Ian. He has no problem running from you the whole damn time, just touching and
jabbing at you.
Well, he's going to have to stay long and stay away from Makhachev.
Yeah.
I just saw a clip of Islam saying, like, how are you preparing for this fight? He goes, I've been running a lot because I'm going to have to be chasing him if he's running.
So, I mean, so think about that. So if we reverse that, or we apply that to the Ian Garry fight, can Ian Garry kind of utilize that? But Ian Garry is going to have to obviously be a little bit more offensive. But can he use a similar style of footwork to keep Islam away, but then he still has to be on the offensive?
No, he can use the footwork to keep the distance, but he has to win the rounds. And you have to land some kind of shots. You have to do some kind of damage. You can't just run the whole time throwing a jab and expect to win the round against a guy who's pushing you against the fence.
I think I agree. I think that's the best chance he has, though, is to run and frustrate Islam into
making a bad mistake,
bad shots, bad takedown offense, also bad throw strikes on the feet because you're overreaching. Because Islam is used to dominating. He wants to run and go in there and just take him down, submit him, or beat him up on the feet. And if this fight is just slow and it's boring, I think Islam will make some mistakes. Ian Garry he's comfortable just using his footwork, and I think no problem with having a boring fight.
Yeah,
so
I think that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to control the airspace, and he's going to stay on his footwork, on his bicycle. He's going to jab the glove a lot, and he's going to move, and he's going to have to make Islam probably really throw some heavy shots to get his attention, and then blast through him.
But that's just the thing with Islam. Islam don't make a lot of mistakes. Like you talk about
on the stand-up, I think he does.
But he's still.
That's the only way I think Ian wins this fight, is landing a shot, stand up, hurting him. I don't think he's going to win a decision. And I don't think he's going to submit him. I think he has to.
Depending on what happens in the next few weeks. But sitting here right now, Kalshi has 72% chance for Islam Makhachev, 28% for Ian Machado Garry. Does that feel appropriate to you? And who are you picking? Do you think an upset can happen here, or do you think Islam holds serve?
I wasn't prepared to make these picks, Mike.
Just go with your gut.
Yeah, when I like to envision fights playing out, and I see Islam having a bit tougher time than he imagined closing that distance of Ian Machado Garry. I see Machado on his bike, but I do see in the later rounds at some point Islam being able to get his hands on him, and when he does get his hands on him, he will take him down. And he's shown that he's got one of the best Darces in the game, and that baby Darce, or whatever you like to call it, it's so foolproof that a Darce is automatic sometimes. And then when you're able to do it on your forearm, a lot of us find themselves there. A failed Darce sometimes ends up right there. But the fact that that's his better move of the two, I think he's able to get the submission in this one in the later rounds, third or fourth round.
Every great dynasty has a tipping point, and Ian Garry is confident that he is that tipping point for the legacy of Islam Makhachev. The combat sports world is completely split between those who see another textbook Dagestani execution and those predicting a massive generational upset. Today, we dive straight into the latest breakdown and expert predictions to see who actually holds the upper hand.
Ian Machado Garry is taking on Islam Makhachev. And I don't know what the most thoughtful question is. I'm curious, if you were training Ian Machado Garry for this exercise, what are you focused on in training camp, knowing you're fighting a guy that is just so well versed at everything? And what are your thoughts about Ian's chances?
Look, well, first off, I mean, obviously you got to get the wrestling squared away, which isn't easy to do because the guy's at a super high level, but there is a big size discrepancy, Ken. You know what I mean? Like there is, he is long and lanky. I think he's awkward. You know, he's not like the most technically sound. And I think that actually is going to give Islam trouble, you know, because I think he's just a little quirky with everything. And he's got the size, I think, to give this guy trouble. He's big. Ian Garry's a big kid. This is a big 170-pounder. So I'm really curious to see how it plays out. But Islam is so squared away everywhere, and he's dedicated, you know, puts the time in with training and all that stuff. So I think it's a great matchup. I think it's a really, really.
If you're talking about Ian Garry does a good job of moving, yes, he moves the whole time. But they didn't say moving, they said running, and running specifically, when we use it as a vernacular in this space, means he goes backwards. He's running from you. He's running. Running away from a fight. Guys that run away from fights are really hard to take down. So does Ian Garry back up? Is that something that Islam should really be worried about? Islam said if he backs up, he's going to chase him. He's prepared to chase him all night. It's interesting. I would trust that Islam would know better than me what his next opponent does in the standing position. And Islam says he runs away. I'm just sharing for you. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch that. That surprises me. I've never watched Ian and thought he ran away. But it would be encouraging if he does. The number one thing, if you're going to deal with Islam and like the rest of us on the outside, is as difficult as we have all found it to be interested in Islam. There is an interest in seeing Islam lose. For anybody that's got an incredible record and has seemingly been bulletproof. There is one interesting thing, which is to see somebody that can get through, that can get a bullet through that shield. Is Ian the guy? Well, if Ian is the guy, or whoever is the guy, question one is going to be, can you stop the takedown? And question 1B is going to be the cardio. Can you...
To pull off the ultimate upset, Ian Machado Garry has to weaponize his gas tank. As analysts like Chael Sonnen have pointed out, the key to Garry's game plan lies in making Islam Makhachev work for every single inch of the octagon. Makhachev's chain wrestling is most suffocating when he can force his opponents against the fence and dictate a methodical pace. By staying light on his feet and utilizing high-volume range striking, Garry aims to turn this title bout into a track meet. If he can use his elite cardio to drag Makhachev into the deep waters of the championship rounds, he creates the exact window of chaos needed to land a fight-ending blow.
Somewhere Islam's not leveling with us. I'm not sure what one. I'm not sure what one the swerve is. It's either that Ian Garry does not just run away and fights. I've never known Ian to do that, but I could pull up an Ian Garry fight right now and I could find out. I could just look at it and go, oh, well, look, he does it. I had never really noticed.
or he's not telling the truth that he's going to chase him. One of those two things aren't true. But I don't know which one it is, and it makes it interesting. And if Ian does play that game of cat and mouse with that long reach that he has, right? Is it enough to say that Ian's going to upset Islam? Boy, Islam's pretty special. I don't know that it is, but is it enough to make it interesting? It made it interesting when Ian took on Rachmanov. Ian had a plan, and that fight wasn't boring. And that fight wasn't just about Rachmanov chasing him down to try to get a hold of him. I don't know that Islam's assessment is accurate.
Sonnen thinks there's a total mind game going on here that nobody's talking about. Either Islam is oversimplifying things by claiming he's just going to march right through him, or everyone's massively misjudging how Ian actually moves inside the cage. If Garry really commits to playing that long-range cat and mouse game, it completely throws a wrench into the champion's rhythm. This exact game plan is what made Garry's fight with Shavkat Rachmanov so tricky. If Ian can keep Islam chasing ghosts for 5 rounds, he turns a fight most people are writing off into a complete wild card.
And what all of these accomplishments point to is that with just another title win, one more win, it will be the breaking point for Islam's career to include him in GOAT conversations. Some people are on and off about it. Some people think it's too early. Some people think he should already be a part of it. But with another win against Ian Garry here, he will be included in the same talks about John Jones and GSP. That is the usual conversation. Who is the greatest of all time? Is it John Jones? Is it GSP? Some people throw in Demetrius Johnson. And honestly, he'd take my number 2 spot right behind John Jones, if we're including steroids. And I will put him above GSP. I haven't said that for anyone else. As you guys know, my GOATs don't change much. I've been consistent with who I think are the greatest ever. This will be the first time in 10 years where I will place someone above GSP. The first time since John Jones. Jones is the only fighter I placed above GSP. And that was like back in 2016. If Islam beats Ian Garry, just gets that next win, I have to put him above GSP.
And if Garry fails to pull off that miracle, the stakes on the other side of the octagon are historically massive. As analyst The Weasel puts it, a victory here is the definitive tipping point that cements him in the GOAT conversation alongside John Jones and Georges St. Pierre. Beating Garry here changes everything. In his eyes, another victory forces the entire fight community to move Islam past GSP, placing him squarely at number 2 of all time, right behind Jones. The debate used to be whether it was too early to talk about Islam's legacy. Now, this single fight could officially elevate him into immortal territory. And whether Islam reaches GOAT status or not, the mechanical reality of this fight comes down to the wrestling. That's where analyst Luke Thomas zeroes in on the central question of this matchup. Can Islam chain his entries smoothly, or will he have to burn serious fuel every single time he shoots? Luke argues that the key metrics aren't just takedown stats, but frequency, speed, and top control. How fast can Islam complete the shot? How much physical stress will it cost him? And can he actually keep a long athletic frame like Garry pinned for 5 minutes? If Islam struggles and spends massive energy forcing every single mat to return, this fight becomes drastically more competitive than the odds makers think.
Yeah,
and the size.
But if Makhachev could take him down since round 1, he's going to finish him.
Rinse, repeat.
Submit, because I think once they hit the ground, they're just like on the feet. I think they're worlds apart on the feet. I think they're worlds apart on the ground.
Once you think they're worlds apart on the feet?
Dude, I think Islam's he's pretty good, man.
Look what he did to Volk. I know it's 2 different complete body types, different fighters, but I mean, if you watch that fight, the second fight with Volk, I mean, the body shots.
If they were to do a kickboxing match, I would put my money on Ian Garry, 100%.
Yeah,
and I think he would beat him 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5, you know? I wouldn't give Makhachev much of a chance.
But if it's a grappling match.
If it's a grappling match, I'm going to dump all the money on Makhachev to submit him every time.
Same.
Yeah, like if it was a straight grappling match, he would submit him.
Every time, you know? And I just think that they're worlds apart on the feet and on the ground, you know?
But more worlds apart on the ground than
more worlds apart on the ground.
Yeah. But the deciding factor is the takedown.
Yeah.
Is the takedown defense.
The takedown.
Yeah. Like, but I'm thinking if he can...
And can Ian get up safely, too, without, you know, giving up his back. And then, because Makhachev does a good job of taking the back and controlling from there as well.
But here's the thing with Ian is that, like, he'll kill enough time in a round to only get taken down with, like, a minute left. and he can possibly survive.
And while Luke Thomas focuses on the mechanics of the shot, Jorge Masvidal looks at the brutal gap in skill once the fight hits the mat. On the feet, Garry might hold a clear edge, but on the ground, they are completely worlds apart. Gary's real objective isn't to out-grapple Islam, it's to delay the inevitable, kill time on the clock, and force Islam to burn precious seconds trying to drag him down. If Garry can frustrate the champion, avoid getting taken down early in the round, and survive those late-minute scrambles without giving up his back, he gives himself a puncher's chance. But if Islam gets him down in round 1, it's night-night, because once Makhachev gets top control, the gap between them is simply too wide to bridge.
Ian Garry, when he fights, is one of the most talented dudes in the UFC. I've been glazing him for how many years, Chin? Ian Garry is so talented inside that octagon. Nightmare of a matchup for guys. Not a finisher. Stylistically, a nightmare for everyone, including Islam Makhachev. This is a fact. It's not going to be an easy fight. That being said, outside of the octagon, he might have the worst interviews I've ever seen. His PR is so bad. He's the only guy I'd ever go, let's not do any promo for this fight. You're turning everybody off. It's so bad. It's so bad. Say what you want about Hokit. At least we know it's an act. It's not really him. It's a WWE thing. He says some hellacious shit. At least we know it's an act. With Ian Machado Garry, this is, I don't know who the fuck he's listening to. His wife, I assume, controls that. Buddy, you gotta tighten up. This is coming from a fan. You gotta tighten your ship up, pal. You are not doing well in this PR game. Doing great in the UFC, but as far as PR goes, bro, could there be a worse interviewer? God damn, he's bad.
And while the tactical game plan is already razor thin, Brendan Schaub thinks Garry is fighting an even bigger uphill battle outside the octagon. The danger here is that Gary's off-the-mic distractions are completely alienating fans and clouding his narrative. When a challenger is entering the biggest fight of his life, turning the entire audience against you with bizarre media takes moves the needle in all the wrong ways. If Garry comes in unfocused or lets the outside noise dictate the fight's energy, all those sharp stylistic advantages experts are raving about could completely evaporate the moment the cage door closes. Things only get worse for Garry in the WADE Concepts breakdown of his latest interview. Garry threw out this heavy line about being put on Earth to be the most free version of himself. But any hype that statement had was instantly drowned out by how much people hated the rest of the interview. Garry tried to paint his middle-class childhood like it was some brutal struggle, which backfired so hard his own brother publicly called him out for making up stories and ignoring how much his family actually helped him. That kind of drama bleeds right into the fight itself. In a sport where your mindset is everything, Gary's heading into the biggest night of his life isolated, taking hits from all sides, and stuck defending himself online. Trying to lock in mentally against a relentless machine like Makhachev is tough enough, and on top of that, doing it with all that noise in your head makes it almost impossible. And while fans are already daydreaming about what happens next, Schaub is shutting down any wild triple champ fantasies before they even take off. The division hopping needs to stop. Middleweight is already a shark tank with guys like Imavov, Strickland, and DDP waiting in line, and moving up to 185 would completely stall out 2 weight classes. While the main event between Islam and Garry is absolute fireworks, Schaub echoes fan frustration that the UFC relies way too heavily on a single massive main event to carry an otherwise lackluster lineup. In his eyes, Islam has plenty of business left at 170, and resting the entire success of a pay-per-view on one fight leaves no safety net if the main event fails to deliver. Whether Ian Garry's range and cardio can turn this fight into a shocker, or Islam Makhachev takes one step closer to absolute GOAT status, one thing is certain: the margin for error inside that octagon is razor thin. Garry enters the biggest night of his life carrying elite technical tools, but also a cloud of media noise that could easily break a fighter's focus. Meanwhile, Makhachev stands on the threshold of history, ready to prove once again that no amount of distance or hype can stop the inevitable grind of a champion. When the cage door finally locks, all the podcasts, PR storms, and expert breakdowns fade away, leaving only 2 men, 5 rounds, and a championship belt that will define a legacy. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another fight analysis. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.